Hey y'all, it's Katrina with Faith and Loops Crochet. Welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to go over different things that happen in my crochet journey. If you would, please like and subscribe, and if you haven't already, go ahead and follow me on Instagram as well. That would be great. Today I'm going to be going over how to make the embroidery eyes. I'm super excited to be doing this video. I've seen several people do videos on embroidered eyes, and every single one of them has their own technique. Every artist has their own way of coming out with the same product, and everybody finds their own little tips and their own little secrets that they use to accomplish it. So I thought today I would share mine with you. I'm just going to do a basic safety eye with you today, just basic embroidery eye. I do mine a little bit differently. There's some steps that I take that make it easier for me, and they may make it easier for you. And if you're a beginner, I'm hoping that it'll help you. If you would, please leave a message in the comments if you enjoyed the tutorial. I'm going to go ahead and flip you around and get started.
Okay, so I have my cowl right here, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And the first thing I do, and I went ahead and cut some strings. I cut two that are the same exact length of the black, and that's where I start. So, like I said, I use two darning needles. Now, I like to use two different ones, and I like to use them one for each eye. And if you have different colors, you can kind of keep up with which eye is which. Now, as I thread these, I'll go ahead and explain of why I use two different strings. Whenever I first started getting into embroidering the eyes, I had a lot of trouble keeping my eyes even. I know that like a lot of people, they count how many stitches that they do on each eye and then they repeat it on the same. That never quite worked out for me. I normally sit on my couch and have my kids, talking to me, or I'm watching TV, and I would always lose count. And then I would have trouble coming up with how many I actually had. So I used two darning needles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put it in this eye, and I'm going to put it into the top right here. And I am going to see how I started it off to the side, and I'm going to put it in the top of the eye, and then I'm going to run it into the bottom where I placed that one. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out and pull that through. So that would be where the first eye is going to be. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to put it in here in the top where that first part of the needle is and pull it through. Leave a little piece so I can tie it later. And I'm going to go ahead and put it into the bottom and come out through the top. And now I'm done with my markers. So now what I'm going to do is I can kind of see exactly where my eyes are going to be and if I like that placement or not. I think that placement is actually pretty good. I like where it's located, so I think that is where I'm going to go ahead and put them. So I always do this. I'm going to go ahead and rethread this needle. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and start on this side. So I'm going to always go into the bottom and come out the top. And as I pull, I'm going to go ahead and use my finger to direct exactly where I want it to be placed at and line it up. So I got one, tighten it up, and now I got two on this side. So go ahead and direct it. See, I got a little bit poking through, so I'm going to put that there. I'm going to stick this needle up here. Try not to unthread it again. And now I'm going to go ahead and start back on this side. Now I want to kind of make sure they're the same size. So I'm going to do one on each side and put it in the bottom and come out the top. And kind of direct it with my finger where I want it to go. And then do the other side. Now I always like to go back and forth because if you're trying to get an eye actually, you know, roundish or like a teardrop, if you do every other side, it kind of makes it a little bit easier. These are looking pretty good. I think I need to tighten that last stitch up a little bit more. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more on this side. So I go in the bottom and come out the kind of the opposite side of the top. And then I'm going to direct it with my finger. To go in just a little bit more and tighten it up. And then wrap it around the other side. And kind of come out on that other side. My needle and direct it where I want to go. All right, so now I'm going to go back over here to this side. And I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more. Go in the bottom, come out the top. Kind of direct it where I want to go. There. Out. In the bottom. Come out on that opposite side. Now I'm going to kind of look at them and see where I'm at. All right, so this one's looking a little bit smaller, so I'm going to tighten that stitch up a little bit more. Spread these out just a little bit more. Thinking they're looking fairly even. So I'm going to come back over here. Gonna go in the bottom, come out the opposite side. Kind of direct it with my finger. Now I did notice that this one was a little bit bigger, so I'm trying to come out just a little bit farther with that side to even it up. And then wrap it around. Come out this. Now I do not have a particular amount of times that I go back and forth. I just keep going back and forth until I like the way it looks. Typically, I end up probably doing, I'd say probably somewhere between 6, and I've done it as many as 9 or 10. So it just kind of depends on what you're doing and what look you want to go for. So it's one of those things, it's the beauty of the artist. They can do what they want as far as making it however they want to make it. So going opposite and then come back up on that opposite side. So let's check it out again and see what we think. Now this one seems like it's a little bit bigger than that one. And I think I'm going to do 1 more set of 2 on each eye, and I think that's going to complete it. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to this one. So I'm noticing this one looks just a little bit bigger, so I'm going to go out a little bit more. Make it maybe just not as tight on the outside piece as what I have been, and it should even it up. Here, making sure I direct it with my finger and come out. Now, I'm thinking this is going to be my end, so I'm going to make sure that I'm stopped on that point and I come out. And the reason that is because I'm going to come in, I'm going to add some last details. So I'm actually going to stick this in the back of the head right now because pretty confident that's done. I like the way that eye looks. So I'm going to try to match this one up exactly to that one, which I think I'm doing pretty good. I think 2 more and I will be completely matched up. So I'm going to start with this outside. Yeah, I'm going to start with this outside piece. And I am going to go in the bottom. And come out the top. Direct it where I want that piece to go. And wrap it around. And like I said, I want to come out on this corner so I can add the more details later. So I'm going to make sure that my needle is coming out on that end. All right, so I pulled it through, make sure it's all even, and I'm going to stick this in the back of the head, kind of get it out of the way so I can get that final look on the black eyes. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty happy with those eyes. I think they're looking pretty good. Now I want to go in and add some of that white detail. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to take a small, and I'm going to use my 3.5 millimeter hook. Clovers are my favorite, so I will be using a clover. And I'm actually going to take my white, and I am going to twist it around like that, and I am going to chain 2. I'm going to make sure that I have a long tail here too as well. So I have enough, and you'll see just a second why. So I'm going to make sure I have a pretty good lengthy piece, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. And then I'm going to just pull that on through, tighten it as much as I can. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to tie it into a knot, making sure that that knot falls on those 2 single crochets. And I'm going to tighten it as hard as I can get it, because that's going to be the sparkle of the eye. I have seen other designers do the same technique with the sparkle, and they do it with 3 single crochets. I say 3 chains, should I say, sorry. I done mine with 2 chains. And I couldn't quite get it to knot upright, so I tried and experimented with 2. So 2 works out good for me. If 3 works for you, that's fine. Whatever works best for you, because it's your job as a designer to make your life easier. What works for you might not work for others. It's all about finding your own groove and what works for you. So I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to cut it, leaving it kind of long. Go ahead and pull that through, make it as tight as I can, and then tie it in a knot, and make sure that that knot falls on the 2 chains. So these right here will be my sparkles. So these right here, I am going to set aside for the moment, because I want to go ahead and put the white detailing on the side. So I'm just going to take and pull just a decent amount. I don't need too much. And I'm going to cut 2 even ones. Now at this point, if you only have 2 darning needles, you can just take the 2 darning needles out of the black. I'm lucky enough, I actually got a pretty decent kit on Amazon that came with a whole bunch of them. I'll go ahead and link that below, because it was a pretty good deal. I ended up getting quite a few darning needles for pretty cheap. So I'll put that on there. I think I got like 10 darning needles for like not even 10 bucks, and I really like them. So I'll link them below in case you might want to check those out. So now the same thing that we did with the black down here, I'm going to start over here to the side right here and kind of come through here. And I'm going to try to get as on this side of the eye. That way I can get that detail that I really want to get there on this side. So I'm going to come through, and if you can see my needle right here coming up, it's on the far side of it for the outside of the eye. And I'm going to come up and make sure I leave a tail so I can knot it. And I'm going to go up around here like this. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to stay on this far side of it, because you want all the white detail on this side. So I'm going to go back in right here on this side, and I'm going to come out on this bottom right here, lined up the same. And I'm going to see how this looks, see if I'm happy with it, see if I want some more white, or if I want to leave it like this. Now, with this being a cream color, I've decided I'm probably going to go one more time. So, and I don't think I'm going to go any more than that. So because this is going to be my last stitch, I'm going to go in here and then come out here because I'll be done with this white. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it around again, making sure that I'm staying on this side. And I'm going to come out where I started over here. There we go. Go ahead and pull that through. And I'm going to make sure I am directing this with my finger. This is one of the last details, so I want to make sure that it is spot on. Tighten that up. And I'm very happy with how that turned out. I think it looks really good. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. So I have this one already ready to go. So I'm going to start right here. And remember, I'm going to come out on the far side as much as I can and pull it through, making sure that I leave enough to tie off later. Pull it through, and then I'm going to wrap it around and make sure that I come in on this side right here and come out the bottom, making sure I'm hanging on this side. That's pretty crucial with the white, or sometimes it can look kind of funky. So we're going to make sure that we're coming out on that side. Sometimes, look, there we go. We got her. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I direct that exactly where I want to go with my finger. Making sure I don't get it too tight or too loose. And if you do get it too tight or too loose, you can always take your needle and pull it out a little bit. Be very careful that you're pulling the right string. I've actually almost got the eye completely done and ended up separating the string next to it and pulling it and having to redo the entire eye. That's not something we want to do. So because I only got 2 on this side, I'm going to make sure I only have 2 on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it around. And I'm going to go ahead and come out over here because that's final. All right, so I'm making sure that it looks pretty good. All right, I'll stick it in and come out, making sure I'm hanging on that far side. Stick it in, pull it, and then I'm going to make sure I'm directing it with my finger exactly where I want it to go. Pull that other side out. All right, I'll put a little bit tighter. Looking at them, I want to go just a little bit tighter. All right, I think it looks pretty even to me. Does it look pretty even to you all? All right, so I can go ahead now and tie them off the white. Now, what I've learned is that in tying them off, you can sometimes pull them way too tight. Don't want to do that. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to kind of stick my needle like that. And then I'm going to tie them off. And that's going to hold that in place so it doesn't get sunk in too much. So I'm going to tighten that and pull it. And tie that knot in there. And I held them in place. They didn't sink in any farther. And that's very crucial because it can actually almost disappear if you do it too tight. So I always want to put the needle in here like this just to hold them in place and kind of anchor them in while I tie it off. And as you can see, whenever I tie it off, it won't let those pieces sink in and ruin the hard work you just put in. So, all right, I am done with the white, so I'm going to go ahead and get it out of my way, finish trimming it off, and going ahead and taking my smaller needle and pulling it on through. There we go. Go ahead and do the same thing to this side. Go ahead and pull that on through. And make sure we hide it in there. All right. So I think my eyes are coming along pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my sparkles in. Before I finish off this block, I'm going to go ahead and put my sparkles in. So with the 2 darning needles again, I'm going to go ahead and string both of these up. I don't know if string's the right word. I guess I'm going to go ahead and, what's the word I'm looking for? Thread? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, split it. I'm going to go ahead and thread the needles. I'm going to kind of look. I think I probably want my sparkle about right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my needle there. And this is 2 over. And this is 2 over 2. So, and that's about lined up right there. And I think those are pretty even. So I'm going to go ahead and come out this top right here. Kind of pull that out till that knot comes in. Now I'm going to go ahead and unthread this because I don't need this threaded anymore. Go ahead and pull that out. Go ahead and come out this top here. Pull that in. And pull it. Go ahead and pull that out. Now these 2 right here will completely sink into the eye if I do not make sure that I have a thread in between there. So I'm going to make sure that these are evenly in the eyes where I want them. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten these up exactly where I want them. I think I'm going to go up there. Pull this up here a little bit. I think that looks about even to me. Yeah, that looks about even to me. So I'm going to go ahead and rethread these. Now, it's very crucial that you make sure that you go over and you catch some of these the black threads in between this stitch and this stitch to make sure that that knot's on top. Because if not, it will sink right in. So I'm going to go over here, right here, making sure that I'm capturing some of those black threads underneath there. And go ahead and pull this through. And go ahead and line it up. And that's where my sparkle ended up. So now I'm going to try to match that up over here. I'm going to go ahead. All right. My sparkles, there we go. That sparkle going in the same direction there. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and thread this. Oh. Splitting that yarn again. I'm going to do it again. It's only because I'm on camera, right? All right, there we go. We got her. Straighten that out a little bit. All right, so now we got the sparkle. So we ended up going in the same area. So we want to make sure that we capture some of those black threads in between. There we go. And I'm going to come up. And you know what the good thing about this is if I do not have this one done exactly like this one, it's very simple to just pull that out and do it again if I don't like it. I'm going to go ahead and pull that. Look at it. Do I like the way it looks? Tighten it up a little bit. I like the way that looks. I like the way that looks. I'm pretty happy with the outcome of them and where they ended up at. I think they look pretty even to me. So I'm going to go ahead and tie those off. Just like we did before, we're going to go ahead and stick that needle up underneath. This time we don't need to capture a stitch because we do have those blacks threads in between. So I'm just going to do this right here. And I'm going to tie both of these off. And then go ahead and hide the strings and get them out of my way. And then we'll finish up the black. So there we go. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and, before I finish off, I'm going to go ahead and pull out. Make sure these are good. Pull them up a little bit. I think that's good. I am happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these. And go ahead and secure them. I'll move these because I'm getting ready to use those in just a second, finishing her up. I'm going to go ahead and pull these to the back. I'm done with them. I can go ahead and hide them in the piece. Well, that one's just not trying to go, is it? There we go. And go ahead and pull that one through. All right. Now my whites are out of the way. And my eyes are looking good. So now I'm going to finish up the detail. Now this is a part that you do not have to do, and you can skip if you want to. It's all up to you and how you want to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put just a little bit of a, I wouldn't call it exactly an eyelash or an eyebrow. It's just a little bit of an eye line, I guess you could call it. So I'm going to go in about a stitch, stitch and a half over. It just depends on how it looks. And I'm going to make sure it's even. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that through and give it that little detail. So I think that this is going to be about right here on this side, since it is the other side. And if not, it's going to be pretty easy. See, I got way too far over. No problem at all. I'm just going to take it and pull it out and do it again. All right, so I put it in a little bit too far over, so I'm going to try her again. All right, so I am about that far from the eye. So I'm thinking right there. I think I just went over a little bit too far. I think right there would be about it. And it's pretty easy to change it if I don't like it. Well, I think I have her done. I think that's pretty good. I like the way it looks. I think it's looking pretty good. So, like I did before, I'm going to go ahead and anchor these in so they don't get lost by taking another darning needle and anchoring them in. Before I tie them off, anchor this one a little bit more. So now I'm going to go ahead and tie them off and get rid of the excess black so I can have it done. Right. Tie this side off. All right. Ahead and hide my ends. Making sure I hide them really good because it's the black on the cream. So make sure I hide them really well. There we go. And we'll pull these off. And she or he, whatever you want to call it, is all done. I think it turned out pretty good. And I hope that you enjoyed that. And it came out pretty good. Like I said, it was my first tutorial, so I am new at this. I'm hoping that you all can see everything that I did. I think they turned out really well. What do you think? I know that some people, pull that out a little bit more. Everybody has their own unique technique to it. Mine's a little bit different, but I think I get similar results.
I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I would like to do some more, and I hope to do some. If you have any ideas for any more tutorials, please let me know. I did have a couple of more ideas about maybe showing how to do some sleepy eyes and maybe I have a little bit of a special technique. It's special to me because I hadn't seen anybody else do it. If you all would like to see that, let me know. I enjoyed doing this tutorial and I hope to do more. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you haven't already, I said in the beginning of the video, please like and subscribe. I thank you so much for taking your time out to spend with me today. I enjoyed it. And I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day.